The last time we talked, Nick had sought discovery, and the prosecutor said, okay, here's your discovery. In addition to that, I don't know where people are getting these children's services files. I know some people are claiming you could just walk up to computers in Minnesota and get it. I find that hard to believe. Because here in Ohio, if you walk into a juvenile court, like, hi, I'd like the Rekieta children file, they'd say, who the fuck are you? And if your name ain't in that, or you're not one of the attorneys on it, you ain't getting it. So this idea that somebody's getting access to them, I don't believe that, because if it was just as simple as getting them and printing them out, these wouldn't look like dog shit copies. So whoever's got them is leaking them. As stated before, I think that's how they're coming through. Because that's leaked information like that, I'm not showing it. I don't, I have a reputation that I'm not going to show leaked information of shit like that. I think that, well, if he'll show that guy stuff, he might show mine. And for right now, I don't know ethically if I should be showing that. So I'm staying away from it. It's all over the farms. I know people have seen it. We learned that there were multiple dates of children's service investigations, one back in like 2009 or something like that. I don't know. Nick says that was for one thing, so who knows what that was about. There was one from last year. We don't know what happened with that. It appears to have been either unsubstantiated or something, because it looks like there was never any follow-up. And then you have the 516, and then boom, 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 boom to where we are now. So that's really the update there. The children's service case is going to go the route it goes. It's basically he's going to have to comply and follow all their demands. Provide clean drug tests, show the home is safe. Those are going to be the big things. Comply with the case plan, which is pretty much going to be that stuff. Home inspections, ongoing, parenting classes, all kinds of crap like that. That children's services case like that is pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward what they have to do. So I'm not too worried about that one. There's a criminal case. Yes, the state provided their discovery disclosure. Now, what is this? This is only 4 pages. So this isn't his discovery. This isn't the stack of evidence that they have. That's not in here. This is a kind of a checklist of what's available. And the way this is very typical. The state files its discovery response. So you'll see what's listed, but none of this stuff is here because that's being provided in paper form. It's being mailed to his attorney. There's here in Ohio, for example, a lot of prosecutors' offices use a program called Matrix. It's an online portal. You log onto the portal, you download everything. And so this is the state's discovery disclosure. So this goes to Nick Rekieta and his attorney, Frank White. And they said, pursuant to Minnesota Rules of Criminal Procedure 9.01, 0.03, and 0.04, the following matters are hereby disclosed to the defendant or defense counsel. The incident report cover sheet. So the incident report and its cover sheets, 3 pages. There's no citation because it's not a traffic case. There are police reports. There's the main report. There's the supplemental report by the detective. The sergeant who was involved in it does another supplemental report. There were multiple supplemental reports by the detective. Now, a supplemental report can be a lot of things, guys. Sometimes it's only a couple sentences long saying, hey, we sent out the drugs, and, that's one of the reports. I personally transported the suspected items to the BCA crime lab and left them there signed out to Mr. So-and-so who's in charge of it. And then he might say, I received a call. They told me to come pick them up. I picked up the items. They were verified to be cocaine and whatever. Or the gun was verified to be operable, or the DNA was confirmed, and the DNA was confirmed to be blah, 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 blah. There's not always a lot to these reports. Sometimes there is. Like I said, guys, you do like a murder case. You're going to get a million supplemental reports, and they just go and go and go and go and go and go and go. And then there was another one by Officer Moist. That's really a name. Nick's driver's license record, for some reason, and I think because they ran his identity, so that's getting involved. His record's 45 pages long, I guess. That's a lot. That's a lot. Defendant's criminal history record. Now, you're always entitled to ask for that. You demand, what's my client's criminal history record? His statement, confession, admission. Now, a couple people ask me, like, does this mean he confessed? No. Remember, statement / admission / confession, meaning it's in any one of those. And this is how they're organizing it. So, yes, he made a statement. We have an audio statement. You can have it. I'm surprised none of those were videotaped, because it says they talked to him at the police station or at the jail. Normally, they have cameras set up for that. But yeah, I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised, or if it wasn't videotaped from there, that there's body cam footage. Victim witness statements, interviews, and transcripts. Well, there's no victims necessarily right here, but they have witness statements. All right, so Nick was done. Audio's provided. April and Aaron, they provided audio. And then here, the Sletas, I believe those are Kayla's parents. Like, it's Kayla's mom and her stepdad. And then, what the hell is her name? That's the nanny. They interviewed them all. And I'm surprised that there's no body cam attached to that. Because normally, like, you can interview them and then you'll have the body cam going too. So I don't know why there's no video. Unless they might include that as a supplemental, because I know Noel hasn't received it yet. Although when you get discovery, they don't blur things out as the attorney. When I get discovery, I get everything. It's uncut. It's raw. There are no, like, you guys watch it on Law and Crime or Police Activity, whatever you may see, they may cut out parts of it. No, I get if the body cam runs, like they're investigating the crime scene, somebody got shot, and they're investigating afterwards after they get the person out of there and they're kicking through the crack shack. Yeah, I'm sitting there watching it, and you're clicking, making sure they haven't missed anything, or they didn't skip over something. But no, you have the whole thing. There is none of this edited or none of it's blurred. You get to see everything in its guts and glory. So I don't know what the videos are for. The witnesses' criminal history reports. I mean, Nick's the defendant, so it's there, but April doesn't have a history. It's not included. April's, Aaron's, or the Sletas. They don't have any criminal history reports included. Now, if I was Nick's attorney, I'd say, do they have criminal histories? You're saying you didn't include them. You're not saying they don't have them. Those two things are different answers. The search warrant, and of course, that's going to be there. The affidavit, but we've already seen it. So the application, which we saw, and then the inventory. Property inventory sheet, we've already seen that. Photographs, which we have not seen, of the crime scene, evidence, and of Nick. So there we go. Now, they talk about the video recordings there. So the squad videos, the body cam videos, and it's of all these officers. So Swanson, Moist, Arda, Twet, Nestor, Oakleaf, which I think that's kind of a cool name, Pomplum, Ballman, and Brannis. But they don't have, and I don't know if they break down the body cams or if the body cam wasn't on when they interviewed these guys. Which, if they didn't, that would be a very big breach of protocol not to have those on there. So if I would look through these to make sure they were there. But I feel like when I went through this in my initial reading of it, you should say, like, yes, video is going to be provided. I get it. Maybe hear what the prosecutor's way of saying, like, this wasn't like a formal sit-down interview separately from everything. I guess. But I'm also betting that when Sergeant Nestor, he's the one who talked to Nick, and Pomplin talked to Nick, were there any times they hopped in the car? Was the body cam running for like the next 2 hours, 2.5 hours? I don't think so. They probably shut it off at points, especially if they're driving and there's nothing, like they don't have anybody in custody. I don't know. Like I said, it's the way it's categorized. Whatever. YouTube videos. Now, what YouTube videos are those? Most likely, they got a hold of Nick's last stream that he did on the 21st. And then they probably have Aaron, where Aaron's screaming about, doing coke around the kids. I'm assuming that's what it is. There might be more. Because Because remember, you don't have to lay out all your cards in the search warrant application. They may have done more investigating in the meantime and found more things. I don't know. I don't know what they have. Any restraining orders, there's none of that here, so we don't have to worry about that. No domestic violence risk report, nope. An impound report, nope, the car wasn't impounded. Although, how did they get Nick's car back home? Because I doubt they let him drive it home. So how did he get home? Unless it's like they let him lock it up on the side of the road and had his family come get it afterwards. I don't know how that worked. Forfeiture. Well, there's, designated offenses and controlled substances. There's no forfeiture issues, at least for now. I don't think there are probably ever going to be any. Certified prior convictions, not an issue. DWI reports, nope. Now, all this stuff here is stuff you need for a DUI. There was no crash, nope. Crime scene diagrams, nope. Copies of checks, nope. No welfare fraud issues, no death certificates. Mental health reports, nope. Other, nope. Expert reports for now, nope, none. They said other law enforcement hold orders, data requests, the child protection letter, and a firearms trace. Now, the firearms trace, guys, we know they're Nick's, but they're going to go through it and they're going to contact the ATF and they're going to do a trace through the Nick system and show where that gun was, when it was bought, who bought it, and go from there. The Nick's thing, no pun intended. And that's the end of it. Now, the one thing they didn't talk about here that we are probably all waiting on, and I'm sure the state is waiting on, are the crime lab reports. So why is that, and why are we waiting on that? Well, it takes time. So the lab analysis, I'm sure that's the one who's in charge of testing it. Kandiyohi County's only got 40,000 people. They don't have their own crime lab. Some counties in some places may be able to afford that kind of stuff. One of the counties I practice in, they have their own crime laboratory. Now, that crime lab mainly does stuff like testing the operability of guns, doing some basic, like they can test drugs. They can do stuff like that. And that's helpful because otherwise, like here in Ohio, you have to send them off to the Bureau of Criminal Investigation or the Highway Patrol's crime lab, somewhere to test that stuff. And it takes a while. And that's why when you guys hear about these drug cases, it might be up to it. You get caught with drugs and it's a year later before you get indicted because it takes a long time. You're not the only person in line. This isn't a high-profile case. So, yes, to you guys out there, oh my God, this is important. To the cops out there, this is, the guys testing it, this is one of a million. Those guys testing in the lab, 26 grams of coke. Like, they probably have kilos of cocaine they're dealing with, pounds of cocaine. I should say kilograms because it's 4th of July, so we're going to talk in standard and imperial measurements, but we're waiting on that. And it takes a while. It's only been a month, roughly, since all this happened. 5 weeks. I think we'll call it 5 weeks. Roughly 5 weeks, maybe 5.5 weeks. That's a real short turnaround time to get things up there, processed and sent back. Will they have it before August? Sure. I don't know how soon. I would assume sometime this month they'll probably come back. They might also go ahead with the preliminary stuff without it. I don't know if they can. I don't know in Minnesota if they can do that or not. That's something I'm not sure of. And there's a Minnesota attorney I'm talking to. I did ask him that question. He didn't get back to me. So we'll find out. But it's this crime stuff, the lab stuff, we haven't gotten done yet. So we'll see what happens. And then she says, all audio recordings are available for view. Also, if you come to the police, they'll give it to you. So that's it. That's it for Nick.